International communication infrastructure is vulnerable, but it is also growing at a rocket pace. So protecting the internet is becoming a key part of many countries' security and defense priorities. And for Tech Island Taiwan, while this presents some serious concerns, could it also create opportunities? Well, to help us understand how central internet connections are to Taiwan's economic prospects, we're joined from Palo Alto in California by Charles Mok, tech entrepreneur, former Hong Kong legislator and research scholar at Stanford University, and in Taipei, Kenny Huang, chairman of the Taiwan Network Information Center and a member of Taiwan's Critical National Infrastructure Protection Task Force. I'd like to first give some context here. Important infrastructure like submarine internet cables sounds like the domain of governments and regulators, but many of the networks we rely on are built and owned by private tech companies like Meta and Google. A Google-invested cable is set to connect to Taiwan in May from a new landing station on the Pacific East Coast in Dawu, Taitung. And the new Orca cable, owned and operated by Meta, is set to reach Yilan by 2027. Now, Kenny, or I'll start with you, Charles, actually. Why do these companies, these international companies, invest in cable infrastructure? And does Taiwan, or would Taiwan have the capacity to go it alone if they didn't?
Well, traditionally, these undersea cables investment are carried out by consortiums of telecom companies, including Chunghwa Telecom and other telecom companies in the region and globally. But the trend recently, in recent years, the last 5 or 10 years, has been more and more of these so-called internet big tech companies are directly investing in their own cables. The difference, of course, is that when Google lay a cable between North America to Taiwan, they are not reselling the bandwidth to other people, unless, of course, if you are using their cloud service. Likewise, for Meta, they're going to be using the cable, the capacity in the cables purely for their own services across their different platforms and so on. So it's good to see many of these big tech companies directly connecting to Taiwan, because that means that they see the importance of Taiwan as a market and also as geographically in the region as an important hub. As you probably know, companies like Google, they also have invested in the data centers in Taiwan, and also the cloud companies have their own presence in Taiwan and so on. So these are good signs that the economy, the economic power or the importance of the Taiwan economy is important to these companies. But then again, you also need to incentivize other types of companies, including the telecom companies themselves, to invest more into cables that are going to be shared by other users, not just by the big platforms. So that's why recently there's actually also another cable project that Chunghwa Telecom is involved in that has been announced that will be connecting to Japan and other regions in to North America and so on. So these are good signs, but of course, the question is always, can we do more? Can we do better? So that in time, hopefully, there will be more cables connecting to Taiwan to increase the redundancy and the abundance of connectivity. So that if certain cables are being cut, or even a bigger percentage of the cables are being damaged in a particular incident, the damage or the impact will be minimized.
Now, when you make an investment as expensive as undersea cables, how do you keep that investment safe? We asked Frank Bekkers, the Director of Security Program at the Hague Center for Security Studies, what technological solutions are being implemented to detect suspicious activities around undersea cables.
The censoring around cables, so in the cables themselves or in the surrounding of the cables, is being stepped up. So there are new technologies, optic fiber cables, etc., to see whether the cables have been tampered with, and to protect the direct vicinity of those cables, or to monitor the direct vicinity of those cables as well. All kind of sensors underwater, above water, so sonar type sensors are being tested, radar systems, and basically the whole range of camera systems, radar systems, sonar systems, and the combination, the sensor fusion, the combination of all those sensor inputs is also being looked at, basically using AI techniques to do pattern recognition. Basically, the whole range of technologies from sensors to AI to sensor fusion is being looked at currently.
Kenny, is Taiwan's government or the owners of the communications infrastructures that we have currently looking at these kinds of technologies to protect or detect any breaches or for Taiwan's cables?
Taiwan government definitely is a policy owner for looking back to see how to secure, how to safeguarding all the critical underwater infrastructure as well. So this kind of technology are critical, for example, like a sonar, and also how to using the underwater IoT facility to monitoring anything happen under the water is critical. And we have different kind of facility, different kind of auditing tool to equip in different ministry. And right now the government try to integrate all kind of information to put it into a central database to see the correlation, to see how we can integrate all the different data set to make a higher value for that kind of particular application, especially to do the submarine cable monitoring and using the sonar image to see, can we do a digital profile or digital model to see and to identify the potential vulnerability for what happened in a maritime critical infrastructure as well.
Okay, so Charles, in 2022, you wrote an article titled Taiwan Can Be East Asia's New Internet and Data Hub after Hong Kong became a less viable destination for data and traffic. Can you explain?
Well, I think the opportunity is still there because since 2019, when Hong Kong became sort of banned by the US as a destination for undersea cable, fiber optic cables connection. Before that, obviously, Hong Kong, along with Singapore and Japan, are the three major hubs in the region. So I have been thinking how possibly Taiwan might be able to take up that particular role. But of course, the geopolitical situation in the region has changed. Unfortunately, I would say probably become more dire since 2019. But still, you see that Taiwan's importance as an AI power. Why am I saying AI? Because of the fact that AI depends on the chips, and the chips comes from Taiwan. So in that regard, you still see a lot of investment and projects coming out from these big tech companies, including the chip companies, including the NVIDIA saying that they want to build a supercomputer center in Taiwan. So these are the possibility and the opportunities that I think Taiwan should look at. At the same time, when it is trying to talk about improving the resilience and from the national security aspect, I think there are still also opportunities to look at it from the economic security and economic growth aspect. When Kenny was talking about the technologies to detect undersea cable damage and so on, surveillance and so on. So why don't the government actually incentivize research in the area so that Taiwan possibly can even become a center of development of your indigenous technology in that area? You think about a place like Israel before, when they feel that they are in a region where they have a lot of security risk and so on. So what did they do? They developed themselves into a cybersecurity powerhouse in the world. So I still think that there is possibility. There are the talent and the need that is very probably some of the needs that are very unique in the region that maybe it is worth the government, in addition to thinking about mitigating the risk in the national security sense, but also think about it as a potential economic opportunity to develop itself not only as a telecommunications hub in the area, but also progressively thinking about it, making Taiwan a technology center about how to mitigate these sort of risks.
Yeah, I want Kenny to jump in here. And are there these conversations happening here in Taiwan about making Taiwan not only a data hub, but possibly a center due to its vulnerabilities, being in the best position to find the technology to mitigate against these vulnerabilities? But also, is it because of Taiwan's vulnerabilities that the potential is less?
What the situation actually is exactly the same as Charles just mentioned. And actually the government and private sector and different startup companies, they are working hard to provide a AI related application. And because Taiwan has advantage for producing all the AI related chips. And so we can leverage that kind of power to see whether we can leverage the power of AI and not only secure the infrastructure layer, but also can provide leverage the power of AI. And Taiwan actually already is a cybersecurity powerhouse. And we have a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of software companies, they are providing the cybersecurity solution, cybersecurity technology. So we try to, in addition to provide artificial intelligence and technology and services, and we also need, at the same time, we also consider the cybersecurity requirement and also consider physical security requirements, try to put it together and to see whether we can attract more investment and to Taiwan, not only consider from infrastructure point of view, but also consider the potential value in the future of AI and potential value in the future of cybersecurity as well.
Right. So Charles, the US and other countries have been pushing for undersea cable projects to avoid the South China Sea. So how does Taiwan's location play into that, or how can it take advantage of that?
Unfortunately, because of the tension in the South China Sea, right now, if you want to lay new cables in that region, you have to get the approval from the Chinese government, which a lot of times is very difficult to get unless you are a Chinese state-owned company. So the trend right now is for these cables to go around the region, which means that they would go around from Guam to the Philippines to Indonesia or Malaysia, and then round back up to Singapore. So that doesn't really help Taiwan, and it doesn't really help Japan also. So what is Japan doing? They're considering or looking into options of connecting themselves through the Arctic over to Europe. So I think Taiwan should get into those discussions and work with Japan so that they will become the next stop. And then from Taiwan, maybe connect over to the Philippines, and then you can have a through road again, rather than making yourself the, like the end of a dead end street, which is not what we want for any cable infrastructure project. So I think the opportunity is still there, but you have to work very closely with your regional partner. And I think in this case, particularly Japan and the Philippines.
I want to bring it back to you, Kenny, as we round up this conversation. With the growth of AI, what does that mean first for Taiwan's needs? And then do businesses here need more or different international connections in that sense?
Taiwan basically has it's a decent location from geographical point of view. And Charles just mentioned, especially under the tension for South China Sea, and Taiwan and Philippines become a natural window to pass through the China and South China Sea. So for example, all the submarine cable go to Southeast Asia, and basically you have no much choice. You either go to Philippines or go to Taiwan, and because all the submarine cable need to get a power regenerate from the land side, because the land side can provide power regeneration. So Taiwan basically can provide that kind of facility. And with the infrastructure support, basically you have advanced technology, advanced hardware, you have infrastructure. That's easily to deploy on top of the application, to deploy the AI application. So I think naturally Taiwan will be integrated all kind of elements from software, from platform, from infrastructure, from hardware point of view, and integrate together to provide a more incentive to more investment in terms of infrastructure, in terms of platform, in terms of service as well.
So huge potential despite vulnerabilities. We'll have to leave it there, but thank you so much. Kenny Huang speaking to us from Taipei and Charles Mok speaking to us from Palo Alto. Great to have you both on the program and great to get both your thoughts. Is deregulation and private investment the key to making the internet more resilient? Or do we need more and tougher government regulation to keep our network safe? Let us know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell and click the thumbnail to watch our guests explain how Taiwan protects its critical digital infrastructure.